Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy. This is going to be a little bit of a different live stream because on my thumbnail, if you saw, I just had a picture of Heidi on it. But we have a panel here. And so I would like to welcome Christy from Eating Wellness, welcome Carrie from My Metamorphosis. And we are all three of us here to welcome my guest, Heidi, from Becoming HKB into our carnivore community. She is a pretty new to the carnivore lifestyle, has a small channel, and I'll show you that later. But she is somebody that I found, and I saw the initial struggle, and I wanted to bring her on here and introduce her to the carnivore community, and and give her a chance to share her story with us, because we all have a story. So welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
So if you can maybe start out and just let us know, where you're from, what your background is, what you do, and what led into you looking for something to solve your health issues.
Okay, so my name is Heidi, and I'm from Colorado, and I am a music teacher, elementary music teacher. Um, I have been a teacher for over 25 years, um, and I have been obese my entire life. So this
So
was
even as a child.
yep.
Mm.
I think I was born a big baby, a chubby child. It was just, yeah. So this is like a lifetime thing. And, you know, having, my parents were overweight. Most of my extended family in some form have struggled with weight for their entire lives. And so it's, it's like a legacy thing, and I, um, of course, have tried so many different diets over, with my mom, with my sister, things that I found myself and tried on my own. And there were a couple of things that had minimal success for a short period of time,
Sure.
and then always, it always returns. It always, nothing is sustainable, and or so it's just one of those things. And I think that it gets in your mindset that this is just who I am. This is my identity. Being overweight is part of my identity, and like this is never going to change. I try to eat healthy. I try to do what I can, but it's my genetics. It's this. It's that. Whatever. It just is, and there's nothing that can
Well,
change
it's
it.
easy to think it's genetics when your whole family is dealing with the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Um,
how is being obese affecting your health? Was it affecting it in other areas?
well, Um, honestly, not until I got into my like 40s did it really
Mm.
kind of start to come down and impact me, because
Yeah.
I mean I seemed pretty healthy for being overweight, um, up until that time. But of course that compounds over time, and um, the joints begin to ache and hurt, and um, and fatigue, and you don't think about that as much because you're still functioning. Or I should speak in first person. I was still able to function and have a relatively successful life, even if I wasn't able necessarily to do everything that I wanted. I could still, you know, have a decent life. And so it kind of tricks you into thinking this is okay, but then
Right.
it starts to compound. And like, just, you have that realization. I had that realization.
Hmm.
I am not going to be able to continue functioning, um, if this continues, because of knee pain and just mobility, just not being able to, to walk into my school. It's kind of up on a slope, and so like just walking into my school and I feel winded already.
Wow.
um, Not to mention, as a music teacher, it's a very active, it's a very active role, and
Mhm.
you're on for the whole day. and
Right.
it's, playing games and doing things and, modeling behavior, modeling movements, modeling how to play instruments, and all of these things that is very active and energetic. And if I'm not able to do that, like, I can't do a jump because it hurts my knees too much,
Mm.
I'm just kind of like, you guys jump, I'm just gonna do this. You have these like
Right.
realizations, like it's not going to, I'm not going to be able to sustain this, and I'm not going to be able to do my best. And I want to be my best. I want to be a, the best teacher that I can be for my students. And, you know, so anyway, that's, that's part of where all of that comes, and just the energy,
Yeah.
when I go home and I have no more energy for the day. I mean, teaching is an extremely taxing job for anybody.
Christy knows. She's a teacher
Yes.
too.
I know.
Yes,
And let me tell you, I'm just going to interject. It is no different for us math and science teachers.
Right. I mean, it's
gotta
just
have that same
everything.
energy.
That emotional exhaustion just from all of the interaction.
Yep.
And just like, I'm like, by the end of the workday, I'm done.
Yeah. And it's not just physical. I mean, I taught high school for a couple of years. I was a lot
Right.
younger, but your brain has to be engaged all the time. You can't check out when you got a classroom of students sitting there in front of you.
There's some statistic that says teachers make more like decisions during the day than a neurosurgeon, because we're just always having to like have answers to things all day long and figure out what to do next, and we're just running the show, and we just make just decision.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of energy.
So it's a great job, but it is hard, and it is taxing. And by the time I am home, especially, if I'm not eating properly, I'm done. You go home. I can't do anything else. I don't have energy to cook a meal. I don't have energy to do much of anything else. Just like sit there, sometimes fall asleep in the couch or whatever. So that kind of what prompted me. And also my father, who, as I told you already, he was obese for his entire life. And we pretty much have the exact same body type. I pretty much have the exact same body type as my father. And in 2018, he passed away. And the last several years of his life, he was basically bedbound from, he had retired, but then, from his obesity, unable to move, even get up out of his bed, to go to the bathroom. He was completely, I mean, it was a slow decline, It was like first he was using a walker around the house, and then, then he couldn't even do that. So he passed away in 2018, and it was kind of a wake-up call for me. He was only 76 years old. So at that point, I discovered keto. It was from a friend. It was right around that same time I discovered keto, and I did do keto and for about a year, and I lost 60 pounds. And I, for the first time, experienced that lack of cravings that people talk about. I'd never actually experienced that. It's always been a white knuckle kind of, I'm just, just hanging on. So
the cravings are intense. Can be very intense.
So after experiencing that, like, I was like, oh, after experiencing being able to actually say no to something that I like, realize I don't actually want that, even though it's something really delicious that I would have eaten previously, and I don't actually want it. That's the weirdest thing. But after actually doing that, like, I started to feel hopeful, like, well, maybe this is possible. Because again, whatever diet I was on, I always kind of had this mindset, this is, I'm never going to actually be able to lose enough weight. It's always going to be temporary. It's never going to actually.
That's the key too, is that, like, especially if you've tried different things and you end up gaining the weight back, it's it's can get really
Yeah.
discouraging to think like, well, okay, I'm going to put in all this effort and I'm going to lose the weight, but it's going to come back.
Yeah, exactly. So I had that success on keto, but then things happened, including the thing that happened in 2020, and it kind of derailed everything. And I had roommates at the time living with me who were standard American diet, and of course then we're all stuck in the house together. We started eating together, and
Oh.
so it became, then it kind of broke the bubble, broke the resolve. And
Yeah, that was a rough time for teachers. How do you function as a music teacher? I'm assuming you had to do like remote.
I did like lessons every day, but like it
Yeah.
was such a crazy time. Like, we were just kind of on our own. And I heard Chris, or is it Christy? Yes,
Christy, yeah.
I heard Christy talking about this the other day in your live stream, how like there was not a lot of guidance. So we're just kind of on our own to like do something, and of course, very few kids were even accessing my lessons, but I did them so that people, so they could have them there, and I'm doing my job. But yeah, it was very weird whole time. And but I'm home, so I do my Google Classroom, and I do my lesson, and then what, there's not a whole lot else to do. So we bake, drink, eat, be merry, whatever.
Yeah, so many people may learn how to make bread and
right,
cook
and
all sorts of stuff they used to cook.
Absolutely. I've always loved to bake. So I've always liked to bake and cook. So it was, yeah, what do you do? That's fun. So yeah, anyway, so after that derailment, this last year, well, the last school year, that I realized, this is not sustainable on my body. I'm not going to be able to continue teaching. I'm going to have to quit my job and do something sedentary or really change my life. And in June, I went camping. It was summer break. I went camping, and I have a little motorhome, and just try to be as isolated as it could be. And I ended up mostly taking just carnivore foods. And I didn't even think about that and realize that, but like, it was just like, I'll just take some meat and some eggs and some cheese, and just cook it up, and not just like try to keep it super simple and not worry about anybody else, or not worry about my food. And I was in a place that I could get a signal, and I ended up watching, a lot of YouTube videos, and I came across Bill's story that carried
Bill Knott.
Bill Knott, yeah. And of course, it was like, oh my God, that's my dad. Like, that's exactly the kind of situation that my dad was in. And then, of course, that expounded to a million other carnivore videos, and like just soaking them in. And so decided to really just go for carnivore, like just carnivore way of eating. And and the first couple of weeks were, even when I got home, were a little, I didn't feel great, but then I started to feel really good, and I didn't lose a lot of weight, but all those other things change, and things you don't even realize, like like thinking more clearly, and my food, and my like, oh, like I kind of felt before, like I have a little bit of anxiety and depression, that I always just kind of buck up and fight through, but like it was just like it wasn't there. It wasn't necessary.
Had you struggled with some mental health issues before?
Just like sort of like just like that kind of where you just feel heavy, you just feel like, oh, like just kind of hopeless and overwhelmed all the time, and a little bit anxious, and just down on the world, just
and I mean, it's not like,
but
it's not like you were buried in your bed all the time,
right?
You just
like
didn't have the
joy. Still functional, still able to interact with people, and be friendly, but but that kind of mild level of depression. And I think a lot of people have that, don't even realize it, they're just
Yeah.
walking around and just think, oh, this is just life. Life.
Yeah.
Life isn't great. So
I would like to say that 3 out of 4 of us, I don't know about you, Lynn, but I don't think so. I think 3 out of 4 of us are accidental carnivores then.
I was just going to say that because
I'm
Carrie,
accidental.
I was going to say, Carrie, you want to tell her what happened with you and you
Yeah.
accidentally fell into carnivore?
Yes. Okay. It was either December the 26th or the 27th of 2022. I have a neighbor who works for a food supply company, and he brought me these boxes of meat. Like it was bologna and Canadian bacon, regular bacon, burger patties. And I mean, I ended up having to give some of it to my daughter because I just didn't have enough room in my fridge and freezer for it. And I just started eating off of all of that meat. And I was already not eating very many vegetables at that point anyway, because I'd actually started low carb in 2015 and just gradually worked down to like what you call ketovore, where you might have a little bit of veg. But what is really shocking is I found myself just eating the meat and no veg at all. And the next thing I knew, I was scrolling on YouTube and saw all these carnivore videos, and I was like, well, wow, I guess I'm a carnivore now. It didn't even really occur to me. It just kind of happened.
So you're joining Christy and Carrie as accidental carnivores because you just went on a trip and happened to pack all this carnivore stuff.
We
right?
need to do a stream or a series called The Accidental Carnivores.
Yeah,
just kind of have people come on and just tell their, how they just kind of, because sometimes it's almost like fate or something. It's really weird because, see, I had suffered with panic attacks and anxiety since I was 20 years old. And they weren't always extreme, but the very first panic attack I had was very intense and actually lasted for several days. And I would periodically, just throughout my adult life, have panic attacks, and I would struggle with anxiety to one level or another, and with social anxiety too. So I've discovered, I'm not exactly sure at what point, it was maybe like a couple of months into carnivore, and I realized my anxiety level was just like, I was calm. Anything that came up, not that it was fun, not that I was happy about it, but I was just able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And
the sense of well-being, it took me maybe 5 months to get into it. Like before I actually started feeling this overwhelming sense of well-being, which is like, and I know that when, Carrie and I were talking the other day on his channel, we were talking about the mental health benefits and how, he was expecting maybe to get up to neutral. Right. And to actually feel good is amazing. You do have a question for you from Mike's Life. He says, what one thing would you change on your carnivore journey?
Oh, I mean, I can't really change anything in the past, but like, I don't know. Like I think, well, if I could change the past, like I wish that I would have kind of discovered all of this before my father passed away. And, but that's life is life.
Do you think that he would have tried it?
I think he would have. I mean, maybe it's hard to say, because even when I first saw like people only eating meat for so many years, I'm like, no, that's impossible. That people don't survive that.
Right.
Like
we all kind of reacted that way at the beginning.
Right. So I'm like, oh, that's just smoke. And but then doing the research and like people, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are real people. This is really happening. I think maybe that he would have tried it. We were raised in a religion that is vegan, essentially vegetarian vegan. So so it was all about the plant-based life. Most of my growing up, and like my father was really into that, but it didn't work for us as far as that goes. Even though we wanted to be healthy, it just wasn't working. So but I think he might have tried it if he had, because we did incorporate meat later. But it's, he did eat meat, but it's, I don't know, something if he would have seen it, maybe he would have tried it.
Yeah.
And
Well, you could have at least shown
felt
him
a little bit better.
the videos,
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
carnivores, but yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Now, how is your like joint pain now and your stamina and all those body aches that you were having?
Well, I mean, I totally derailed the last couple of weeks of December. It just like crashed. But yeah, it was actually, well, and see, that's the thing. I was feeling a lot better, and keeping up that, like, the inflammation just reduced so much. My energy increased so much. My skin cleared up. I've always been very prone to sinus infections, and like that, like I wasn't getting sick. Those things, and just the energy and mood, like I was able to function. Like I've been having a really good school year because, I don't dread going into work, and I'm able to get enough planning done, get my stuff done and do the funner things. So yeah, it helped.
Are you able to climb that hill yet without feeling out of breath, or is that still in the process?
Well, that is still in the process. I mean, I'm not, like, probably not as much out of breath as I thought. Thinking about it, I was today going back. It was like, ugh. But
now, if I went to Colorado,
after
I'd be out of breath.
Yeah, after eating really poorly the last couple of weeks, and just kind of seeing that change in my body, I like going backwards, and I'm like, no, this we can't do this again, because it's almost instantaneous. Like it creeps on. Like I'll sneak this or sneak that, or just like, oh, have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's fine until I'm like just feeling really and the pain in my joints, and just even when I get up out of bed, like just achy and creaky. And then even like, because the last few days being strict with my eating and like staying on carnivore and finally trying to get a hold of these cravings, that I feel like that is almost instantaneous for me. Like I was like, like I actually have energy.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Wow, that's amazing.
Like and then you just realize, like, oh yeah, I was feeling really bad because this is way better than what I was feeling.
Yeah, it's amazing. It doesn't take long. Now, I know that I want to show everybody your channel. I know you have a small channel, and I really want to encourage people to subscribe and give you their support. So look, 3 subscribers, and me and
I was your 3rd subscriber, Heidi.
I was your 2nd. Okay.
Everybody else, jump on with me.
Yes. So Heidi has some videos here. Like she's just kind of getting going and posting some videos. 3 subscribers. Yeah, but she's very real, and I think that's one of the things that I appreciated when I found your channel. I watched your video. Is just to see, that you're very honest about the struggles that you're having. It's hard when you don't have the people around you, who are doing this. And you want to share a little bit about like how you were like, you were kind of in the dumps last month, but like just what you were experiencing at school, at your work, and that was really causing you to struggle.
Well, it work constantly, but especially around the holidays is, the constant treats coming in, available in front of your face in the teacher's lounge, people bringing them to you, offering them to you. It's, and that's very hard for me. And it's not, at some point the cravings go away, and I don't really want that. But there's a mental thing that's going on that is how my relationships are tied to food, and how I connect with people, and that, also with my family. and how food is like almost another part of my family,
Yeah.
and has always been that kind of connection in our family, how we show care, show love, connect with each other, those kinds of things. That is, I think, the harder part for me to overcome, because it's like, lifetime of conditioning and associations, and so that's like the hugest part that's
Yeah.
hard for me.
And your family, I mean, do you tell them the way you're eating?
Basically, I've told them that I'm back on keto, but I am honestly kind of afraid to say I'm just eating meat, because they're already kind of freaked out about keto. They're like, I don't know about that, Heidi. That doesn't sound right. Even though I lost that 60 pounds on keto, they were like happy, but like, again, like they have resentments too when I'm not eating what they're eating or what they're offering, and it's, yeah. So it's a little bit difficult. So I haven't really told them about.
Do either of you two have any advice, or anyone in the chat? That's a tough situation. Do either you have
It is
suggestions?
tough, but I will tell you, as a 7-year veteran, starting with low carb and then moving on up. I mean, I guess my family's just gotten accustomed to me being this weirdo. They don't say anything anymore. And I mean, I'm weird in more ways than one. Yeah, I'm weird in more ways than one, but this one is
So
a
embrace the weirdness.
I just embrace it. That's right. I'm just being me. I would like to think that I'm going to be that quirky grandma and great grandma, one that all the grandkids are like, yeah, she's cool. She's got a YouTube channel. My grandson was actually talking about that on Christmas. He was telling one of his friends that came over for Christmas breakfast, and he was saying, yeah, Gaga, they call me Gaga, and he says, yeah, Gaga's got a YouTube channel and everything. It's too funny. But anyway, and it is hard when you're the only one. I mean, I've gone through work situations. I've gone through, like, one time they had a pizza party, and you're encouraged to participate. It was like a meeting, and then they brought in pizza for everybody. And I mean, they brought in the pineapple and ham pizza, and they brought in the one with the chicken on it. I mean, they tried that. Then they had a vegetarian one, but there was none that I could eat. Well, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it was all pizza. So you know what I did? I was sitting there right in front of everybody, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. I just scooped
the toppings right off of that pizza.
I did. I scooped the toppings off. And I mean, I know that was before I was carnivore. That was back actually pre-pandemic. But, that was just one situation that I was in. And I mean, people just started realizing, I think at that point, like, yeah, she's different. And
yeah. And Annabella says she's on a sugar-free, diabetic-friendly diet.
Nice.
And then, what I've done too is, I mean, I've just kind of stuck to my guns. And I guess in a sense, I've just become kind of like, I don't care what other people think. And it takes time to do that, because I have not always been that way. And with carnivore, I think that's even helped me more with that. It is to just having this, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do this. I feel my best eating this way. There is nothing that's over there that is worth me losing this feeling. And I can tell you that this past Christmas, and I ate bacon and eggs at the Christmas breakfast. That was it. I did have on Thanksgiving, I had too many sweet potatoes, but that was the only thing that I had that was not on plan at Christmas. But when you start thinking, and it takes time, it really does. It takes time for you to just, it's like, nothing's worth me losing this natural high on life, It's not worth it. And you'll get there. You'll get to the point where you just say, hey, this is me. This is how I eat. This is how I am.
Yeah.
You'll do it. You'll
and
get
somehow,
there.
Sometimes we got to train our families, right? And I think honestly, most people just want to know they're loved and they want to have that connection, that heart connection. And, you know, I would definitely reassure my family that I love you. And I know our family has a history of showing love with food. And I'm really, for my own health, you know, wanting to learn other ways that I can show you that I love you. But I have to love myself, you know. But, you know, each family is a little different, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I would like, here's a teacher word for you, for us OG teachers. I would ditto everything that Carrie just said. So I won't repeat that, but also I was so glad in a sense to get Lynn's email about this, because I was like, oh, no. We've got to get Heidi like plugged in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You've got the three of us here on screen, and look at all these people in the chat. Let me tell you, I've known most of these people through YouTube for a while, and they are some of the most supportive people. So when you see one of us going live, like I honestly didn't pop this up ahead of time. I don't know how many people are watching from my channel. Like I forgot to like stick it up there. I literally did it after we started streaming. I can guarantee you, some of them saw that little red icon, oh, Christy's live or whatever, or they saw it on Carrie's channel or Lynn's channel, you know, and they popped in. And so you can do the same, like if you're not subscribed to us, you'll see when we go live, and just, that's what I do. Like I'll have my YouTube just kind of open. And when I see that pop in, you guys all know, you see me in the chat. If I'm in the chat and Mike's in the chat, we have a good time. We're just, or if Carrie's
are you kidding? All these people are chatting with each other.
Yeah, we might not always be listening to what's going on the screen, but that's okay. You know, we're just chatting like, hey, how's it going? How'd this go? How'd that go? You know, supporting each other. And it's sometimes carnivore talk and sometimes just friend talk. But it's the best thing I've done. I have a couple people. My mom is keto and my teacher bestie is keto, but I don't know any other carnivores in real life. Like they're close, right? But they're, you know, they're still eating other things or whatever, and they're supportive. But you know, until you can jump in on some lives, I want to see you in the chat with us, and we'll
all right,
here for you.
Yeah, you got to plug in. That's the best advice is to plug into the carnivore community, because it's the most supportive community. We want everybody to succeed.
Yes, we do. And my life has changed so much in the last year, and specifically since I heard Dr. Barry and Carrie saying, you know, you need to share your story. Everybody needs to start a YouTube channel. We need to get this movement going. And I was like, I don't know if I could do something like that. And I don't even know if anybody would want to hear my story.
Right?
I know. I still don't know what I'm doing on my channel. It's like, it's the video.
But you're doing it. Because I've met so many people, great, wonderful people. I mean, Christy is a dear friend. Lynn is a dear friend. I mean,
that's awesome.
Oh gosh. And people in the chat, Mike Shaw, you know, just all these folks, they're just awesome people. And I consider them friends, and my life has changed so much. So yes, I admit it. If I don't have anything going on after work, you know, to unwind, I'll check and see if anybody's streaming on YouTube, and I'll just pop in.
Yeah, definitely jump into the lives, and you know, people will start to get to know who you are.
Yep.
And it'll make you feel so encouraged to know that you're not alone.
Yeah. I definitely need that.
Yeah. So Mama Cracker wants to know, what is the HKB? I'm assuming the H and the B are your first and last name.
Yeah. It's just my initials. My middle name is Kathleen.
Okay. I kind of figured it was something like that. So, okay. So I was going to ask you something else. I'm thinking, do you guys have anything specific that you were wanting to ask?
I had a question, because, you know, I like to interview people. So when she was talking, what I'm not sure is how. So you said when you started keto, you did like your cravings and stuff started going away, which is cool, because that was not my experience. Like when my cravings didn't go away till I accidentally went carnivore. So more on that later, because, you know, I have a live at 5, you guys. So I'm going to have to hop off in a little bit. But my question is, so when you went keto to accidentally carnivore, and then you decided to stick to carnivore, like what differences have you noticed then between the keto and the carnivore way of eating for you?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think at one point I did experience some oxalate dumping, which was like a very weird sensation where my feet were just like itching uncontrollably, and I could not do anything to make them stop burning. And I kind of did research about that, and I'm like, oh wow, so all of this almond stuff and all of this is actually a poison getting locked away in my body. Interesting. So, I think just it's kind of like the immediate reduction in inflammation. Like I did lose weight on keto, and I did have more energy, and I did lose the inflammation, or it reduced, but it was more gradual. And what I find now is that if I, like I said, this past, well, not these past couple, I've been like basically strict for the last week, but the couple of weeks that I really derailed, once I got back on and I did just straight carnivore, like the change was almost immediate to the reduction of inflammation and the increase of energy and the mood increase. Like, whereas like the whole keto thing took a very, it was a longer process.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the oxalates, and one thing with keto is that a lot of people will eat a lot of salads and they'll still be eating their veg, and there's a lot of people don't know anything about oxalates. I didn't know anything about oxalates until
I didn't either.
I had no idea. I
didn't even know about them until I stopped eating them.
Yeah, I was still in my motorhome, and I'm just furiously looking up anything that could possibly help me, and that like popped up somewhere, and I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of have just been eating like this for like a week, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
It was like I never had heard of it.
Yeah. Now, so other than the itching and what some of these symptoms that you thought were kind of like, more oxalate dumping, did you go through any other symptoms as you transitioned into carnivore?
I was really, really tired the first like week or two that I was doing it, and I was like at one point just like, this is dumb. I don't know what they're talking about. Like this is not going to work. But I stuck with it, because there was a lot of people like just get through that part, get over the hump, and I was taking electrolytes as well. So it was like, but which by the way, electrolytes made me feel so much better, which is another thing I think people don't realize. Like, whoa, those really do help you feel better. Anyway, so, but after that, like everything else, I mean, I still didn't lose a lot of weight. The weight was very slow coming off. I mean, still has been very slow. But then after that, it was like, but I feel so much better. So yes, I am going to be continuing to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just posted the link to this stream if anyone, out there. I see Nicole's out there and watching. I'm wishing all the condolences to Nicole. I know Nicole just lost a family member, and hope you're doing better and all is well. And have you watched Nicole's channel, Former Fat Girl?
Oh yeah, I have watched a couple of that.
Yeah, she's here.
Because I was
she has got some fabulous material, because she talks about food freedom, and that is just something that I think is just totally left out of the discussion in terms of dealing with, and honestly, I believe your situation would, be something that Nicole could help you with, like some of her videos and stuff, because she talks about the reasons why and things that maybe that are suppressed or just whatever, just all different kinds of things that factor in as to why and how we eat it. And likewise, I mean, for people who don't eat, like I'm sort of there again, I'm the weirdo, but I tend not to eat. I've always been that way, but especially on carnivore, it fills me up so much. So I have to actually make a conscious effort to eat. And so being cognizant, though, I think is key, no matter who you are, of what you're putting in your body and the reasoning why you're putting it in there. Because like whatever I eat now, I know that it's going to give me sustenance. It's going to make me feel good. It's going to give me energy. It's going to help me bulk up, build some muscles. Hopefully I'll get some of them butter boobs that the other girls talk about. I haven't.
Oh, is that a thing? I would love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a thing, Lynn. That's a thing.
I haven't heard that term.
I
Yes.
haven't heard that either.
Oh. So
I should
Share
know
more.
that.
Share more.
okay,
Yeah.
so
It's like the first place I lose weight, and it's the only thing I want to keep.
okay, so
Right?
Heidi, keep me posted on this because I do have to jump off soon, but we could talk more later. I want to interview you on my channel too, and we can talk about it more then. But I gained and lost. I never had a ton of weight to lose. It was like the same, like 20 pounds over and over. But yes, that would be the first place it would go, and then the hips would go last. But like on Carnivore, I didn't lose any of it. They just hung around. I was like, yes,
Can some of the weight move up?
Right?
No, you win.
No.
Can I just take a couple of pounds off the old thighs?
Not that I'm necessarily lacking, you know, but at 55, things start to change.
Hush, I'm 48. Okay, I got 7
Oh,
years.
I'm sorry. Never mind. It's great. Right, Carrie?
Well, yeah, I know. I'm 57, and hey, I feel pretty dang good.
Yes.
So but if I could get the butter boobs, man, life would be the bomb.
You know, it
Yeah.
Also, there's a couple of people, like I'm interviewing Kat at 5, so I know you guys are busy. Like, stay here, don't leave Lynn, but you know, come back and watch the replay on my channel later. But Kat at Meat Fueled Living was a former vegan, as well as my fellow Lioness Lifestyle host, Haley at Meat Is Where It's At, former vegan. So, you know, those people have a kind of a similar perspective, you know, coming from that place going to Carnivore. So those channels might help you also because they share their, you know, their journey and how they were that way and how they are now, you know, and how their families are reacting to it and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carrie and I are part of a book club. We're just wrapping up The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. If you haven't read that book,
Yes, do.
that is a
Read
good
it.
one because he brings in all of the bad science and shows about behind all of the myths around nutrition and how they came about over the course of history. And he shows all these studies that were planned to try to debunk, you know, a lot of them did debunk Adkins, right? And they ended up being unable to do that. And it's really good to have those resources at your fingertips, you know, to know that it's actually scientifically based to eat this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you ever watch Dr. Philip Ovadia?
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen that one.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Because I'm thinking about, okay, dealing with vegetarians, vegans, one of the things they're going to say is heart disease, right?
LDL, your LDL is going to go up.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Now, Dr. Philip Ovadia is a cardiothoracic surgeon and a carnivore. And he is a good one to listen to because he can speak directly to those things that people bring up as, you know, an issue.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of your family that still is vegetarian?
No, not really. They're not still vegetarian. They're just they're standard American diet. But you know, they're also just kind of, you know, they don't do a lot of research on their own necessarily, and just kind of brush it off. So
Yeah. Now look, you've got a conversation going in the chat about butter boobs.
There we go. There we go. It's real. Some of us, not
We
for
can
all
blame
of
it
us.
on Nicole.
For some of us.
So Christy, you have to head out for your
Yeah, I do, everybody. I wish I could hang out, but like I said, I already had mine scheduled, and then Lynn invited me to this, so I was like, I will come on as long as I can because I want to
really
meet Heidi.
appreciate it.
Thank you so
We really
much for being here. It was so nice to meet you.
We'll see you guys around.
Yeah, and I'll send you Heidi's email.
Perfect. I'll
Great
be
to
emailing
see
you.
Christy.
Yeah, you too, Carrie. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. So what is your plan? I think we just kind of we've talked about the past and the present, and what are your thoughts about the future for you?
The plan is to stay carnivore.
Okay.
for sure. I want, because, you know, and I was thinking about this today. I have so much going on in the next school semester of um, school performances, personal performance ensembles, um, church obligations and performances, services, like just so much in the next several months happening. And I, you know, I just realized, you know, I can't afford to not be up to the task. I cannot afford to not have enough energy to do these things. Like the
Right.
other option is, you know, is stopping things, or having, you know, just having to turn away life and rest. You know, that's the other option. Just turn away life and sleep. But if I want to engage in life and do the things that I love to do, that I want to do, that feed my soul, I need to be staying on carnivore. I need to be eating clean so that I can have the energy, so that I don't have the inflammation, so that I'm not getting sick. You know, and that's just, it's just not, it's just not really an option.
So what do you eat?
Give up.
Like
What do
what
I
foods
eat?
are you eating? Mm-hmm.
So I just like, especially at first, I just keep it simple. I've tried a lot of the, you know, the carnivore recipes, which are fun and fancy. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just not, it's just not worth the time when I could
No,
just
it's
have
not.
a hamburger patty. You know, I could just have ground beef and throw a couple eggs in, and
Yep.
that's just as delicious, you know.
Right.
I can just, you know, it's just throw some bacon in the air fryer and,
Yep.
you know, throw it on top of my eggs and beef, or, you know, I mean, it's like the super easy thing. And I love eggs. You can do anything with eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that's like the basic things that I eat, you know. Occasionally some like canned salmon or sardines or something. And
I was gonna ask you if you like sardines.
I do. Well, I do like sardines. And
Yeah.
I've taken, you know, because my mom used to make these like salmon patties. And so I like tried, I'm like, oh, I bet I could do that with sardines. And I did. So I could, like, it's just egg and
Yeah.
the sardine, and put the little patty in there and fry it up. And I'm like, that's actually a pretty good way to eat those.
You know, see,
I
I've
hadn't
been
thought of that.
doing an eating breakfast challenge. Okay, Brett from Hoosier Carnivore, Hoosier meaning the Hoosiers, but anyway, not
Oh, got it.
who's your, but Hoosier.
Hoosier, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
So
Indiana.
anyway, he was having a fasting challenge. He was actually fasting for 9 days. So,
Okay.
but so he was like, "Are you in?" I'm like, "Brett, if I fast, I'll blow away." So he was like, "Well, I'll tell you what." He says, "Why don't you, since you're trying to, you know, build some muscle, eat breakfast? That'll be your challenge because I don't. I'm not a breakfast
Okay.
eater." And do you know, the first day I ate, I think, like a burger patty and a little piece of beef bacon. I just am not a breakfast eater. And then the next day I didn't want anything. And then, but for one weird reason, it's like, I got sardines in there. I'll eat some sardines. And then so I said I was going to eat them. And then I was like, you know what? They probably don't believe that I really ate sardines for breakfast. So I filmed myself eating sardines for breakfast. And I had sardines for breakfast 3 times during this challenge. But I've also
Never
had,
fried sardines.
I've gradually increased my food though. But so like I've had like a burger patty with a sunny side up egg on top with some beef bacon.
Yeah.
That's been, I had that like 3 times this week too. So
Yeah.
so it's going pretty good. But I tried sardines for the first time in July. It was one of the first videos I did. And my grandson thought it was a hoot. He thought it was hilarious. But I mean, because when I looked in there, I mean, the expression on my face when I saw those fish in there, those little fish.
Yeah,
But they were good. I ended up liking them.
they are. And like the thing that's always like bugged me a little bit with the sardines is like the little bones and the little vertebra. And I'm like, oh. And I realized you could actually get boneless just in water. And I'm like, oh. And since then, I'm like, oh, well, it's just fish. I mean,
Yeah.
fish.
Well, you know, we were just Kim, nurse Kim, on our book club. We were just talking about sardines on our book club yesterday, and she brought out the one that she buys, but she was saying she was unhappy that it didn't have the bones. She actually likes the ones with the bones.
Well, you can still get this kind with bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would start like I said, I've never had sardines before. I don't think I'd start with ones with bones in them.
If you haven't had sardines before, you should definitely get them without the bones.
I
guess the bones are good for you, and if you mash it all up and make a little patty with it, that it's fine. But
that's what she said. Is she likes to mash them up because they're real soft.
Yeah, but if you get like a bite of the little vertebra, it's like it's just such an off-putting texture.
Oh, it's just a texture thing. Yeah. I think for me it would be psychological.
Well, yeah.
The texture thing that's weird for me now, one of my early videos too was of me trying cod livers, because Dr. Barry said, you got to put your big girl pants on, and, not to me directly, but just to people in general, and he was like, you need to grow up and, eat your cod livers and eat your sardines to get your nutrients naturally.
Yeah.
He says you don't need a bunch of supplements.
Well, and people used to have cod liver oil all the time. It was part of the daily thing that you'd shove cod liver oil in your kids. My dad grew up like that.
Yeah. And now, the cod livers, they come in the oil. So you get not only the cod liver itself, but the oil too. But the thing is, I still have a texture issue with them. I eat them about once a week, sometimes twice a week. And I'm actually tolerating them a little bit better. It's not like I hate them, but the texture is slimy. You just kind of have to and you just sort of, it is slimy. It doesn't taste bad though. It really doesn't. Yeah. And so what I tend to do is I drown them in hot sauce. So it's olive oil and hot sauce all mixed together. And then I just don't look at them as I eat them. Yeah.
Tastes fine as long as you're not looking at it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I can't have hot sauce because it's high histamine, and I can't have histamine issues. I know, Heidi, with your sinus issues, have you tried keep it like sticking to low histamine foods to see if that will help?
I honestly haven't done much research. I've kind of watched a couple of your videos about that, but not, just haven't really looked into that much. But that's probably a really good.
Yeah, it's something to put on the list of things to try and just to see, because it's like whenever we're all kind of experimenting on ourselves with this diet, and we have to kind of tweak it. Some people can eat everything and they get maximum benefits. Me, no, I have to very I have this little narrow focus on what I can eat. But I tend to have sinus issues too, and I'm still trying to kind of narrow down. Sometimes I do feel like my body's still kind of detoxifying a little bit, because I'm still trying to detox from mold. And I think that, I got tested positive for mold, and it's not in my house. I think I'm probably one of those people that can't clear it on my own. I find that when my naturopathic doctor had me taking hot baths, because I can't take hot showers because the heat triggers my reactions, but I could take hot baths and try to sweat in the mold out. And when I first started doing that, I noticed I was getting these this white discharge out of my eyes.
Interesting.
And discharge out of my ears. So I think for me, the sinuses, it might be the mold. So if you haven't been tested for mold before, you might want to put that as a possibility. The test is kind of pricey.
Yeah.
But, you get it. A regular traditional doctor is probably not going to test you for it. I had to go see a naturopathic doctor.
Yeah.
But, you just kind of have to chip away little by little and see how you feel, eating just a regular carnivore diet and, first. So, awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody who showed up. Let's go take a look at your channel and see if any of you are here and have not subscribed. You need to subscribe. Let me put a refresh here. See what we got here. So you got 10.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
Fabulous.
Okay, come on, you guys. I know there's more than 10 of you on this live stream. So get over here. And I love the name of your channel, and I love that you put ... behind it.
Thank
You can fill in the blank. You can become whatever you want.
Exactly.
Well, we're all on the journey of becoming, you know, who we are.
Exactly.
Who we want to be. And it's, you know, kind of got that double meaning.
So what is your hope for what you'd like to become over your, you know, obviously we know you don't want to be in the position that your father was in.
Yeah. Because it's kind of terrifying. I want to become someone who is able to help other people, who is able to just live and thrive, enjoy my life, spend time with my family. That's quality time. That, you know, we're out doing things, you know, hiking, loving nature. I love nature very much. And to be able to be out in it, you know, doing activities in nature with my family, with my nieces and nephews. And but I want to become a better version of myself. I want to become someone who's thriving and able to help people, you know, because if I am not taking care of myself, or, you know, I don't have the energy to give of myself, you know, then, you know, I'm not able to be there for other people.
Yeah.
You know, or do the things that bring me joy.
Yeah.
So I just,
And as a teacher, obviously you went into being a teacher to help people, right? You know, because you want to be an educator.
And I have, like, as a teacher, you know, most teachers are very creatively minded, you know, and I have so many thoughts and ideas, and, you know, sometimes I just haven't had the energy to do the things that, you know, to take the lesson to the next level, you know, and so I want to become the best teacher I can be. I just want to become the best version of myself.
That's a fantastic aspiration to have. Yeah. Because, and I mean, there's good teachers, and I've had not so good teachers, you know, but you can tell somebody who has the energy to put into to their work. Yeah. And it's not that it's necessarily the fault of people who don't, because I mean, you know what it's like not to have energy.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we're all out there with good intentions, trying to do our best.
Yeah.
You know, but how much is our diet limiting what our best is?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and the quick, you know, how quick you saw the reduction in inflammation. We hear this all the time. Just shows how your body wants to respond. It's pretty incredible.
It is. I feel like our bodies are amazing. Like, just the fact that I'm still alive after all of these years of weight, and it's, you know.
Yeah. Now, do you get blood work?
I got blood work probably about a year ago. I haven't ever been a person that goes to the doctor much, but I probably should, to just kind of get the blood work and the test,
the
baseline, find out, you know, get some information.
Yeah, and get your hemoglobin A1C, see where you're at with, you know, and hopefully, you know, not diabetic and you know, or pre-diabetic, but
about a year ago when I did get a blood workup, it was like pre-diabetic.
Yeah, that can change very quickly on the carnivore diet. And get your insulin levels checked. So you have to ask for that.
I had mine checked for the first time. I'm 57, and I just had mine checked for the first time in September. And I was pleased that they were 3.8, or that the level is 3.8.
Yeah.
But I had no clue, and I'd never been tested for that before. They would always test, you know, your fasting blood glucose. But I mean, I had no idea whether I didn't think my insulin was high, but see, my mother had been type 2 diabetic, and her insulin levels just kept going up and up and up. And then in addition to the insulin that they kept giving her, because she was under the impression that you could be diabetic and just eat what you want as long as you took the insulin to, to accommodate it.
Right.
So it was just like, becoming diabetic was my why initially in getting started, because I didn't want my life to deteriorate like my mother's did.
Yeah.
She ended up passing with congestive heart failure, and it broke my heart the way she thought she was being compliant. She thought that, because that was what they told her that she could do. And I was shocked at some of the stuff she would eat. Now, when she was in the hospital, for 3 weeks in 2019, and I checked every single box for her meals and I made her eat meat and vegetables. And she barely needed any insulin. And what's funny is my dad took it to heart, but my mother resumed her old eating habits as soon as but my dad's like, he started giving up the bread and all that, he didn't completely go keto, but you know what I'm saying? He started like, oh, I don't eat the bread, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it rubbed off on him. And I'm just like, and then the virus happened. And so I didn't get to see him. And then she passed over in 2021, and I didn't get to see her in the hospital, but because all of that was still going on. But
sorry.
Yeah, and she passed. But it just breaks my heart. And so I know I'm going to pass of something someday, but my why is that my kids my kids are going to be so annoyed at me because I'm going to be chasing their kids around, my grandkids, I'm going to chase them around and getting them all worked up.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to be that fun grandma. That's right. That's my goal. That's my goal. Live to see my great grandkids.
Yeah, we're all going to die, but we might as well die living.
That's right.
Right. Quality of life, like what, to have quality of life. And we've all watched people come to the end in a poor quality way, because of lifestyle choices. So I guess we can be thankful that we're learning about this now. And when there's time to reverse and put ourselves on a different path. And hopefully not end up there.
Like, just thank God that I even found it, and feel like hopeful that I could actually not just aesthetically lose weight, but like could actually live a life where I'm able to do the things that I have always wanted to do. Move how I want to move.
Yeah. It comes, and and I know it comes a little different for each person, but if you stay committed and you do it, you're going to get to a point where you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the difference, and it'll come, and hopefully your family will go, oh, wow.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of what I'm waiting to have, some sort of visible result before I'm like, oh yeah, well, this is what I've been doing. But I might have to tell them sooner.
I totally understand that, because in a lot of people's minds, I'm still their before picture.
Yeah.
Because I still have like probably 100 pounds to lose. I've lost a lot of weight, but people see my rosacea picture. Okay. So that's a good before and after for my skin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I see that.
But I know how you feel, because when you feel like you're still a before picture.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any kind of, like, I can tell you like many benefits that I can feel, but there is something to be said about visual things for people, visual cues and visual, just, seeing it versus just hearing somebody talk about it, because otherwise they really don't understand.
Right.
And I'm trying to get my word out, get the word out about carnivore. Like, what I think, whatever is wrong with just about anybody health-wise in this country is due to diet. I firmly believe it. I think we're all sick with the same illness. It just manifests in different ways varying on the individual. So I want to get the word out, but I think in a sense, like, for somebody to see me talk, it's like there is no before and after. It's just hearing me say, I'm not anxious anymore.
Right. You know what? That's huge, because
that is huge.
So many people are looking for those mental health benefits. And to be able to attest that you've experienced the mental health benefits is pretty amazing. I'm just going to quickly kind of grab in. And I know that we have some viewers that maybe don't know me, but this was what I shared with Carrie's, You know, this is a before. Look at how horrible that picture is. Holy cow.
I know, but you look like you're like, gangster right there.
There's a story behind that picture. And it's like, honestly, Heidi, when you talk about like how vulnerable do you want to be on your channel,
Absolutely.
This for me is ultimately vulnerability because this is a horrific, horrible picture, mortifying. But I was actually on the verge of tears here because my oldest daughter lives in Texas, and she had come for a visit with my granddaughter who I'd never met before, who was just a baby. And it was my first time getting a chance to meet her because I couldn't fly because, you know, it was back when they were still requiring masks on airplanes, and I couldn't wear a mask because the heat from my breath triggered a mast cell reaction. My throat would swell and I get dizzy. I wasn't able to be there. My younger went for the birth, but I wasn't able to actually meet my youngest granddaughter yet, other than FaceTime. And so she had come for a visit, and I got to meet her. She was with us for several days, and this was as they were leaving.
Oh man.
My youngest to take them back to the airport, and I had to say goodbye. And I was, you know, they had just gotten in the car, and I'm sitting there like holding back tears, which I was very unsuccessful. I ended up crying. But yeah, I was literally like, oh my gosh, I don't want her to leave, right? But yeah, so I mean, we all have our before and after, and some of our before looks just like our after, but then you've got your testimonial of how it's impacted you, Carrie, and you know, that's why we have channels, right? You know, so that you can be vulnerable, and people appreciate vulnerability.
Well, and also because I'm different because I'm trying to actually like put on a little bit of weight and bulk up some, and so I remember when I first started Carnivore, because I had lost some when I went keto back, you know, a few years ago. But then as I got to, you know, when I did Carnivore, I lost like 15 more pounds. And I knew my clothes were getting loose, but I didn't realize I had lost that much until I had gone to the doctor. It was just a routine visit. And they were like, "Are you losing weight on purpose?" And I said, "No." And then they said, "Well, do you eat meat?" And I was like, "Yes, lots of it." And they were like, "Oh, good." They thought I was vegetarian, I guess, and thought I was vegan. It was funny. It was really funny. But so I didn't get any pushback on saying that I eat lots of meat. That was all I said. That was the only thing that came up about diet. So I think they were actually concerned like I was vegan or something. But I said, well, no, I'm not losing this weight. I eat, you know, I do eat, and I eat meat. But so I'm hoping, but I was looking for somebody out there who was like me, and I found a few people. There was like Aaron, this guy named Aaron, who used to be a vegetarian actually, or he might have even been vegan. But anyway, he went to Carnivore, and he was so thin when he first started. And then he, you know, has workout videos and just stuff, tips and things that he did. So there are a few of us out there. So I'm hoping that maybe the next version of me that comes out, you know, somebody who's looking, maybe they'll find me and be like, "Oh, okay, there is a weird oddball just like me out there."
Yeah. Well, I think you're talking about your anxiety. I think that's a huge thing, because I really think like the nutrition, like you were saying, is one of the reasons that there's such a rise in mental health and in mental health issues. And I think that's a big thing for you to talk about and get out there, that how your depression and anxiety has gone away from your diet, because the poisons of the carbs and the sugar that are like literally poisoning our bodies and changing our brains and making us not work properly. We don't think about those things because it's not visual, but so many people are experiencing them, and so many people need help from, you know, a release, a freedom from those, you know, conditions.
Yeah. Now, do you see a lot of, I mean, I'm assuming you've been a teacher for quite a while. Have you seen over the years changes in students as their diets have gotten worse and worse?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just the anxiety is just rampant, even with children, you know, or like autistic spectrum disorders, but just even on a, on a milder level of just kids being just a lot more fragile, essentially. Like they, they just can't handle things coming
Well, the
in.
last few years, I'm sure didn't help.
Like, yeah. Well, no,
Right.
not at all. But it's because, their brains have definitely changed because they're just, mostly eating standard American diet, and most of that is sugar. I mean, so much carbs, so much sugar that most of them are eating. That, and I work in a Title I school, so there's a lot of poverty, and that's what they get. There's just, it's not good. They have a hard time concentrating. The ADHD, all of it. It's increased immensely.
Yeah. What do you see as the school feeding them?
I mean,
Do they try, or is it usually
they try. I mean, they're
good?
trying. There's national laws requiring various things for them to actually serve, and they're required to take it on their plate whether they eat it or not. So I mean, it always has a protein, but there's also always carbs and vegetables.
Yeah. Do the kids
fruit vegetables?
Yeah. So they're trying. It sounds like
they're trying, but the things that the kids gravitate, of course, towards are more. I mean, it's hard just because it's so rampant in our society. Like, sugar isn't literally everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Well, I know that when my kids were in school, I mean, my youngest is 27 now, but my kids were in school, high school, they brought in like pizzas, like, and things from like the fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
And they bring those foods in for the kids to buy there in the school cafeteria. And so that's what the kids bought,
Right.
And when I'd send my kids to school with a sack lunch, at times when I did, they wouldn't eat it.
Because the other options are there, right?
Yeah.
These easier, more palatable options. So
yeah,
why would you?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can have some, impression on some of these kids, and you're in a great area because I mean, music is so good for mental health. You already have this great, platform to help people, to help kids. There's a question for you. It sounds like it's for all of us. What do you guys think about goat cheese? Is it better than, the typical orange cheese? I guess I heard goat cheese is more tolerable for people who have lactose intolerance.
That's what I've heard too. I cannot say that I've had the pleasure of eating it. I don't think I've ever had goat cheese.
Oh yeah, I used to use it. I used to put it. I mean, I'm gonna actually look up from a histamine level standpoint goat cheese, but I used to add. I get the tube with goat cheese, and I used to add it to like ground beef, and to kind of make it more like a stroganoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it melts.
I may have to try that.
Yeah, it actually melts really well.
Yeah.
I got goat cheese here. So, okay. So goats, well, it says goat milk. So I'm assuming goat cheese is falling under the same category. From a histamine standpoint, it is a 0, which means that it's fine, but it does have a little question mark next to it, meaning insufficient or contradictory information. So they think it's a 0. But that's good. It basically means that all the thousands of people who, provided feedback on goat cheese says they didn't have any reactions to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love goat cheese. I think it's delicious. I mean, you'd have to do more research. I don't know, like, technically all of the breakdown of it. I have heard that it's more digestible, but I like to put it in like a little egg quiche. It's so good.
Okay. That's cool. Are you going to try to do like some cooking videos on your channel?
Oh gosh, maybe. Like I said, like the whole video thing I'm so new to, and I like equipment and setup and all of that. I don't know what I'm doing at all.
And that's okay because we all start out that way.
Yeah.
And just keep putting it out there, and we learn as we go. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The content is what's most important. Like I said, I think people just really want to see that you were the real you. And
Yeah, that's true. I
my God.
truly appreciate the people who just put themselves out there. And like there are some who have all the production and all of that stuff, and that's fine. And maybe at some point, I mean, I know I've got work to do. However, I still think that when you can tell a person is genuine and they're sharing and they have a caring heart and they want to help and they're learning and they want to share what they learn with others, that's what makes a channel great to me. I mean, I don't care about all the flash and dash. And I would venture to say that most of the carnivores don't care about that. They want to see real stories and they want inspiration and also to be a part of a community and a group.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
Yeah. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me motivated to hear other people and, to know that I'm not alone, So yeah, just encourage you to, just keep doing it, keep putting it out there. And, now some of us, so, we can give you tips and
that's exciting. Like,
I use Canva for my, my thumbnails. I think you do too, Carrie, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
So
Canva's fun. It's kind of frustrating.
Okay.
At first, but you start learning the menus and it's better. It's great. Yeah.
There's a free version of it, and it's actually a web-based design platform. Okay. It's easy. It's user-friendly. It's kind of like the dumbed-down version of some of these ones that are more complicated. And
however, I didn't find it to be that easy. Now maybe I've got a weird brain, but like some of the menus and stuff to me did not seem logical. But I'm very well versed in it now and I'm getting better. And it's not like just difficult. It's just that I would have to sometimes click like a couple times before. And I was like, well, why is that there? And
there's YouTube tutorials on everything.
Yes.
Like literally. Right. Okay. So
it's
I gotta bring poop into every live stream if I can, right? Because I'm a GI nurse. One time, just because I felt like just seeing, I actually and YouTube searched for how to poop. And I found a whole bunch of videos.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And I wasn't looking for like how to poop better or how to prevent constipation. I was looking for literally how to poop. And there were like 3 videos that actually answered that, like step by step. You find a bathroom,
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
Run to the bathroom.
Make sure you have toilet paper. Like seriously.
Oh dear.
So I truly believe there's a YouTube video out there for everything, but there's a ton of Canva YouTube videos.
Okay.
And you can go, like there's a button up at the top that says create, and you can actually search for YouTube thumbnails. And so you want to make it that'll automatically give you a template that's the size of the YouTube thumbnail that you need. And then and then you can go to design and also type in YouTube thumbnails. It'll pull up a ton of templates.
This just sounds like a wonderful rabbit hole to just if I had the time.
Even if you pick one template that you like, and you have one great picture of yourself, and you just kind of change whatever it says, each time.
Sure,
that's what I do most of the time.
Yeah. So there's tons of tricks out there.
But Lynn's good at it. She did a great one for the interview that she did with me, man. It was awesome. You'll have to look at that.
I know. I saw the one that you posted for mine, and I saw my face, and I'm like, oh,
you looked good. Right?
Well, that's interesting.
It was a great
YouTube video with a real carnivore.
Isn't that weird though, too? Yeah. You go on YouTube and all of a sudden you're looking back at yourself.
Yeah.
It is weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
and a year ago, I never thought that would happen.
Right?
Unless it was a prank or like somebody caught me doing something I didn't want them to see.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, okay. So we're going to go wrap this up. I know that it's later where you guys are than it is where I am, because I'm in Washington. And I just wanted to I always wrap things up by giving my guests the last word. And so, whatever is on your mind, what you'd like to say, your last thoughts about where you are in your carnivore journey, and if someone's looking into becoming a carnivore, what would you tell
mean, if anyone is out there looking into trying it, I say just go for it. Like, see how it goes. Get through the hard part, and then see how you feel. I think that's just how everybody has come to it and realized, like, well, gee, I feel great. Why go back? But but also, I think it's important for me, especially to myself, to acknowledge that there's, in addition to this nutritional stuff, that I need to focus on right now. That's the urgency, that I need to do a lot of emotional work, because there's a lot of emotional work attached to my relationship with food.
Yeah.
That is not going to necessarily be solved just by how I'm eating, but how I'm eating is going to give me the energy and the courage and the strength to do that work.
Yeah.
So that I can heal myself and heal the other things in my life. So
yeah, absolutely. And you're starting in the right place, and the healing will come. Let's take one more look at your channel, because some people have come on since I pulled it up last. So let me just go back over here, do another refresh. Okay, so 10, everybody that came on since I pulled this up last, this is Heidi's channel. Fantastic name. It leaves it open-ended as what you're going to become. I love it. A brand new, fairly new channel, small channel, and she's going to keep posting videos and keep us abreast on her.
I guess I have to now.
Yes, you do. You have
so thank you. Hold me accountable.
That's right. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about accountability, and with community, we help each other, so it's good pressure.
Yeah.
And, and you're going to be on some other channels, already. Yeah.
That's right. I would like to get you on mine. Not that it's a big, huge channel, but hey, it's
I'll take the small channels.
Yeah. It's an opportunity to connect. Which is so important.
It'll give you practice at any rate, so you'll be really good by the time you get to the bigger ones.
Yeah. And honestly, it's seriously, like we were talking beforehand when we were all backstage, and Heidi was like feeling a little nervous. And I said, literally, how we're talking now, this is what it is.
I like this. I like this better than doing my own videos, because I stumble over it.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's true. And you get more comfortable. I mean, I went back and watched some of my first videos, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But
you have to start somewhere.
It is what it is.
And you just work your way up. I mean, I'm still kind of surprised they ever got up the nerve to do the first one. And it wasn't, I'm pretty sure, no, I think my first one was an intro because of Carrie's documentary. And then the second one that I did was the sardines. Imagine that. But, ugly face and all, when I looked in the, I was
I told everybody all my weight, how much I weighed, and everything. And that was huge for me, because I was absolutely embarrassed about my weight. And, but I figure if you're going to put it out there, put it out there.
Yeah. That's how I figured.
Yeah. And there's always someone who weighs more than you.
It's not going to be pretty, but here it is.
Well, that's right.
And if it gives you any hope whatsoever, you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys, everybody who tuned in. I appreciate everybody who's been in the live chat. I appreciate Carrie and Christy who joined me today. So welcome Heidi officially into our carnivore community. Get her going. Give her support. And if you're watching this on the replay, go subscribe to Heidi's channel. Give her support and encouragement. She's really, on this journey with us. So, all righty. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to call it a night. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for joining us.